I'm loading into a game as Chucky, the good guy, and I will be explaining how to play him, what to do, and why I'm doing it, and explaining how I use my perks, why I picked those perks specifically, etc., etc. But this isn't meant to show off my build, it's just meant to show off how to play Chucky in some way. Now, I don't know if I'll win this game or not, but the results aren't really the important part. The results are based on what you do in the game and how well you think you do. Sorry for the mic squeaking, because it's loud as fuck. Alright, so I use the Pursuer so I can immediately find where a big group of survivors is. I sneak up, I break line of sight, and boom. She does not expect me coming, so I get a free hit. And now we use our 4.4 speed. I might be able to catch off guard. Nice. So remember, you have very low height. Survivors can't really see you easily. All you have is your red stain to give you away. So if you get rid of that red stain, they can't do anything. So that's going to be a first. Now I also have barbecue, so I know where to go right away. Because a lot of Chucky's counterplay is downtime, so if you minimize your downtime, so I know where this person is. They ran somewhere right here. I start from an angle. I messed up there, but I had the right idea of starting from an angle. She messes up, so I get a bit of a hit. Rat poison, the add-on, gave me that information. If I can force this pallet out of the way, that would be awesome, because I have thwack. And we start from an angle, and then she can't do anything. If I were to start it facing where she was, I would not have been able to turn that angle as easily. So you kind of want to start your slice and dice from an outward angle, so you can allow yourself to kind of turn those. Now I'm using my my hidey ho to break line of sight and approach this generator with as much cover as possible. And then last bit of my slice and dice is over. That's okay, I forced the pallet. She can freeze it, which is not typically a thing in your games, but you know, it's a thing in this event, so we have to deal with it. If she pre-drops this, that'd be big. Nice. And now this is how you play Shaq. You want to pre-charge. Oh, she's leaving Shaq. There we go. That's another thing you have to practice to get hits like that. You want to flick your mouse a little bit. Your turn rate is capped, but you can flick your mouse or whatever. It's easier on mouse, but it's possible on controller too. You can move your mouse quickly to the side. That way you can get around tight and things like that. And also it helps when you approach from an angle, like I mentioned earlier. I'm going to try to go for Jeff because I haven't hooked him yet, and I feel bad that this thing is dead on hooking already. But I can approach. Or this is Gabriel, my bad. So start from an angle. So even if he dodged it, I was still able to react in time. And also, one thing you notice is I'm only letting go once I'm right on top of him. So I start from an angle. There we go. I saw he wasn't over there, so I kept hugging the wall, and then I caught up. And you only let go, in the open at least, you let go when you're directly on top of the survivor. So if you're far away, you don't want to let go early, because then you force yourself into a straightforward lunge, which makes it easier to dodge you, because you have less control during that. So you don't want to do that. No one's here, so I'm just going to scamper, try to get no information, which is fine. Now the reason I like using Brutal Strength, because a lot of Chucky players will recommend you just keep pallets up, I'm trying not to camp this guy, is to kind of just get rid of as many resources as possible, because a lot of pallets are easy to outplay against the Chucky. So if you can minimize that, okay, this is the difference. If you can minimize that, perfect. This is another reason I like rat poison. I was able to know that she was not staying at that loop, and she was instead staying over here, or running this way. That way I can jump on her, because information is very valuable in Chucky. That brings me to use Thwack. Thwack I know is unpopular, but I like it because it's free information. And when you're breaking those pallets, sometimes they stay at the pallets because, I don't know, they just do. This is the same thing, unfortunately, so she's going to be out of the game. Now here's what you can do as well. You start from the angle. She does have more distance on me. Now she has the pallet. One thing I'm going to do would be... Actually, I'm not going to do event stuff because it's not what this is meant to showcase. Black, I get worried. Where's she going? There she's going. She's going around this tree, and then she's dead. And you notice I only let go on top of her. That way I have no chance of missing. I could have let go early to get a little speed boost at the end. It looks like when he jumps off the ground, but that is higher risk of missing. He also makes a noise when he does it, so he's like, rah! That's also good. One thing I like to do, at least when I'm using the add-on Power Drill, is to kind of be able to use my slice and dice primarily. Like, typically in games I'm not getting M1 hits as often as I am in this one, because in this one they're kind of like in my face a lot of the time. But with this add-on, with Power Drill, it reduces your slice and dice cooldown, or your hidey-ho cooldown, when you hit someone with your power. So, what you can do is primarily use your slice and dice, even if they're kind of close, just to make the hit faster, and then you can use your power faster. So right now, maybe I could have just walked up to that gen normally, but I'm going to use my power. I don't want the Fang. I'm going to chase Gabriel. Fang is probably the better choice to chase here because she would be out of the game, but I personally like hooking people individually. Plus, this Gabriel is running into an area with a lot of generators. Well, 2 generators. So, it gives me an excuse to be over here in the first place. Now I'm not sure where anyone is. So I'm going to break this door. Maybe I get worried. Not worried. Oh, no, I do get worried. He's in a very bad spot, but he is doing the right counterplay, because how you play against Chucky is to get as much distance as possible. Because right now, there's nothing I can do to close this distance between us besides just holding W. I can do this at the very end.
You're mine, asshole!
But I really wish he stayed at Shack. He's probably not going to. Yeah, because the pallet's not up, so he's no reason to. But I can show you how to loop these if he stays here, which he is. So you want to start and charge it around corners, and then mess up like I did. Just kidding. I didn't know he was going to go for that window. That was very unexpected. But he did. So I'm going to do this. There we go. Remember, short height, you can mess with people a lot. I did see Fang right here. She gonna try to... I'm gonna hook up here. I'm gonna try to see where she's going as I'm hooking. And kind of lost her, but I have a general idea. Try with scratch marks.
Playtime's over.
There we go. So this is Jeff, who I have not seen literally this whole game, so I'm gonna try to get a hook on him. I also know this gen is a high value thing that they've been trying to get. Yes. That's another reason why I barbecue. I saw his aura. I come over here. There's no scratch marks, but he wasn't running, so I know he's still in the area. So where else could he be? So that's something that that's not really a Chucky thing. That's just kind of a, you pick that up, but it can help. Now I'm gonna try. I saw their aura for half a second, so I know the general idea of where they are. That snowman just said, "Hey everyone, he's over here," which is unfortunate. But we can still use that information to get a rough idea of what's going on. I got a pretty good area where I can see the progress of the generators, because you can see the pistons moving. That one's not moving, but this one is. So I'm just gonna hover around here for a little bit. Maybe Fang is trying to Brutal also helps if you want to kick gens. I usually don't like a lot of gen regression, but if you did want to use gen regression perks... What the hell? I saw the snowman moving over here. If you did want to use gen regression perks, Brutal Strength helps with that as well. I know this is a person. What? Okay, I was gonna say, I knew. This is a shack out play. You pre-charge around the corner. You are you slide off of literally everything as this killer, and then you keep going around, she messes up. Obviously that changes depending on the survivor, but that's a pretty useful tip. But yeah, anything you want to slide off, you basically can. It doesn't matter how flat it is, like Shaq. It doesn't matter how round or incongruent it is, like a rock or random garbage. Like, if a survivor is, like, let's pretend I'm running her like this, you want to charge up here, and you slide, and they have no way of reaching that. Right now I'm just going to scamper, so I'm going to speed off of that. But that's what you want to do. You want to kind of get that vibe of sliding off of things. That's a big thing to practice because it's very hard to react to. It's very fast. I'm going to do the same thing where I'm going to approach from a bit of an odd angle. I saw their arm for literally half a second. I think it was Gabriel. It was. And I saw him going behind this area. So I'm going to cut through main. Use the last bit of my power for some speed, which makes me find him. So now even though I don't have a power, I might be able to catch him off guard, and I can just keep an eye on him until I am at him again. He does have a pretty solid window here. Yeah, he has a very solid window here. So right now I would slice and dice him, but I can just hit him normally. And now I have my slice and dice immediately available. He has no pallet here. So I will just keep tracking him until I can directly see him. And now this is another thing you can do. You can fake it out again. You have a lot of control, at least left and right, when you're in your slice and dice, so you can throw survivors off a lot. So he could see me there, but if I just move left and right quickly, it makes me very hard to react to, and it forces nearly all pallets or windows to be 50-50, which means if it's basically up to if you catch it. It's not about, like, it's very hard to react to, but it is possible. But for average survivors, it's all a matter of one thing you'll know is, or that you might not know, is that I have the worst hatch luck known to man. So I may not find hatch, which would be unsatisfying end to this video, but I could try. If I don't find it, oh well. Oh, I found it. Another thing, this is actually kind of good, because Chucky is also really good at looking at the exit gates, because he has a third-person camera, which is a power basically in and of itself. So Shaq is kind of in the way, but I can see this, and to see this one, I don't have to go that far to look between it. I guess I kind of do, but actually, I could just see from here. Wow. Nature is working against me here, but I can see the lights here. Alright, I'll basically be fine. And if I see red lights, you don't want to just run right over there. You want to hidey-ho, break line of sight. Obviously, you can run over there if you see like all the lights are on. That's your last chance. But if you catch them opening it, you can sneak your way over there, and then that way you get a hit faster. If they commit to the gate, they're probably dead. If they leave early, then yeah, you're chilling. You're still going to be okay, because that means they're off the gate, and it's just the last person, so what are they going to do? Okay, so this guy must have unlocked hatch somehow, and I missed it. But that was a pretty solid game, all things considered. And they had pretty decent build. The Gabriel had a bit of an odd build. Very odd build. But these are pretty average perks. Deliverance, that's just unfortunate for her because I hooked her first. I never had to worry about Decisive because I didn't tunnel. Decisive Strike probably would have hurt me a little bit in that game. And I also, another thing to mention is that Dead Hard, you can't really do a lot if they have Dead Hard against Chucky, because it's very easy to react to him. The most you can do is delay it by sliding against a wall and then wait till you see the animation and then you go back into them, and that's only if you have the time and if you have the resources on the map to do it. Otherwise, you're probably just going to have to eat the Dead Hard, get your cooldown reduction from Power Drill, and then continue on chasing. It's unfortunate, but yeah. Or if you're not slice and dicing them, they just use it because you're close to them, where you can have one of them, then just wait it out. Other than that, pretty average build. No one really brought anything too crazy, but it was pretty good for an average game and a pretty good example of how to play Chucky and why I do the decisions I do, and everything like that. Obviously, if you want it, there were a few opportunities there where I could have tunneled someone out or saw someone and just targeted them, like the Feng earlier. I could have seen her early and then just chased her, but I didn't because I just don't really like doing that. But she did end up dying early before I even hooked Jeff because I just didn't see him. But he had kind of always knew where I was because of poised. So. But poised is not a perk you're going to see often, so, you know, you got to be ready for anything. But playing like that, you can kind of get away with a lot. So those are kind of the main takeaways. Approach generators from a distance.
What's going on?
Shut up. Approach generators from a distance, and use your hidey ho to remove your cooldown or your terror radius. Sorry, and approach from a unique angle. Especially because you're so tiny in your third-person camera that if you can see them on the gen, that's even better. You know exactly where to approach. Maybe you can even get a grab. If a survivor's walking towards you, you can go hidey-ho, stand still, and then see where they're going. Like at the very beginning where I entered hidey-ho, I knew she was running there, and I sat behind the rock and waited until she was just close enough where I could hit her and maybe even scare her and disorient her. Because sometimes when you scare survivors like that, they run into stuff because they did not expect to be hit right there. Without yapping too much, that's solid enough. You know where to reach me in game questions if you have more questions about Chucky. And I have plenty of examples as well, like clip examples that are shorter that show how you can effectively use different aspects of your power. Like there's one clip I have where I let go of my power early, and that way I use that lunge at the end of Slice and Dice to catch up to someone right before they would have reached a pallet. And the only reason that's useful is because if I were to do my usual thing of waiting until I'm right on their body, I would not have hit them. They would have reached the pallet and would have stunned me. Another thing you can do that I didn't get an opportunity to do in that game was if a survivor is reaching a pallet and you're slice and dicing after them, you can kind of delay it by going, like let's say Shaq for example, they pre-drop Shaq, you're slice and dicing towards them, you hit the wall, you slide to the side so you're against the wall, and then after the pallet's dropped, then you move back into it to scamper it. And then they can react in time to go around the corner, but it's very hard to do, so from there you can just hit it. Everything else about Chucky is really up to practice, so if you hit someone, then you did it right, obviously. If you missed, just try to remember what you could have done right. Rat poison is kind of the windows of opportunity of Chucky, where you can see where they're going, you get a general idea. You don't need this add-on. If you didn't want to run rat poison, then you could run either jump rope or good guy box. Those are both very solid. And yeah, use either of those and you're kind of set. Yardstick is pretty alright too if you scamper a lot. Yardstick can be kind of a replacement for rat poison. Don't mind the thing that says no longer available. That's just a visual bug right now. And yeah, you're pretty solid. And that is my Chucky thing. So if you have questions, you can ping me in the Discord server. I'm at the top, the tippy top, and I'm listed to help with Chucky. I can give clips, I can give advice. I put lots of hours into this guy pretty much since he came out. Or you could just comment under the video, and I'll see if I can, or if there's any ideas of more different videos to make, or if you want to see on a certain map or on a certain build or whatever. I'll just do what I can to help and hopefully make more Chucky players play him, because he's really fun and I want to play against more Chuckies. Alright, that's pretty much the video. Sorry for the rambling at the end, and bye. Hope this helps.